and it was an absolute whirlwind. Like, we were both quite wild. I was wild, Seb was wild, and together we were wild, wild. And then the universe was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, you two cannot go on this wild path. Seb, you're going to get iller and iller and iller. From Bolivia, his immune system was down. He was trying 9 courses of antibiotics in 6 months. We had lots of tests. I went through lots of traumatic stuff. First 6 months were wild, weren't they? I went for a rebirthing session.
Oh, yeah.
My house literally set on fire after the rebirthing session. It was very intense, but the universe was sending me really clear signs that this is okay, this is a good thing. And then we ended up moving in together. So less than a year after meeting each other, we moved in together. And then
So welcome, welcome, welcome. This program is called Tales of Transformation. So let me just explain what that's about. So I am interviewing people who I believe are doing incredible things. So people who are going against the grain, taking bold steps, making courageous decisions to live and create a life outside of the status quo, which truly is a really difficult thing to do. It really, really is. And hearing their individual stories of how they got there, because there's always an adversity that will show up. Yeah. And something that's going to make you really, really look at your life and think, is this life aligned for me? And then make decisions from that. That's everyone's story, right? When they do these bold things. And it's really to give other people a permission slip to do the same in whatever it is that they want to do, so they can transform spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. And ultimately, I believe that we can be the permission slips for each other in this interconnected way that we all get to live with sovereignty and to choose boldly and to create the Gaia matrix, right? Not this false matrix of distortion and control and, you know, putting ourselves in these little boxes, but the Gaia matrix of beauty, of earth, and of humanity. And that's why I want to talk to you guys, because I think you're doing your slice of that. So I just want to say, just for anyone that's watching, I have visited the Wonder of Wellness Clinic, and I don't think I said this to you, Seb, but I initially saw you guys on Instagram and I thought, awesome, love what they're doing. Wow, there are people that are in the dental world that think like me. I'm not weird. I've been like, you know, in the closet for 12 years. And I was like, other people are out there that are doing this. And that was my permission slip. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like, truly from the bottom of my heart. And I kind of messaged you and it was a bit casual, but eventually I woke up. I had this dream and it actually was like, go and visit the clinic. And I was like, literally went on my DMs and messaged, can we actually meet? Or like, can I come? So that's why I came. I was like, I don't know why, but I'm going to go and visit the clinic. And I'm so glad I did, because it has such a beautiful feel.
And do you know what's really weird as well? And we'll be honest here. We get loads of people reaching out, and I tend to like scan through things and have a look. And I can't remember which page it was on, but I saw you'd like messaged about something. I don't always respond. I kind of look for urgent things if I have capacity. And I saw you and your page, and I went, oh my God, Seb, you need to see this lady. I think this was before you'd even asked. I was like, I feel like this woman gets it. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like, I haven't told you this before. I was like, I feel a connection with this lady. I was like, just watch this space. And then we were busy and the clinic happened. And then you reached out and I was like, oh, here we go.
That is the woman's intuition and her wisdom. She just knows.
Yeah, and I was there like, ooh.
You're like, all right, yeah, whatever.
There we go.
Love it. So a couple of months ago, I saw a dentist, and she's a very famous Instagram dentist, and, you know, a real dentist as well. She's not just an Instagram dentist. And she said she was the most followed dentist on Instagram. And I thought, I'm sure that's not true. And I went and had a look at your page, Seb, and you have a lot of people following you. And I just looked today, you've got 237,000 followers. That's incredible. I wonder if you have any insight or any theories as to why so many people are drawn to you and what you're sharing.
I can feel my heart doing that thing, you know, where you like know that that's come from some core belief that what you share is truly pure, truly authentic, truly aligned, your dharma. And it's, we'll probably talk about the journey anyway, but my path has led me to this moment. And I could have gone and done dentistry, but I didn't get the grades, and I could have done an extra year of A levels, and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. And it just led me on this completely different way, which led me to biological dentistry eventually. And biological dentistry to me is life-changing dentistry, and it's giving people permission slips to say that there are other modes of healing out there that you don't talk about, that, well, we try and talk about now, that we're trying to get out there, but people don't know about. And for me, it's one, speaking openly, honestly, truthfully from the heart, and things change all the time. You know, we learn all the time, we learn different techniques. And I just share, really. And I aim everything at patients. I don't aim it at professionals. And because really the changes come from the people, and the people make the change and drive the change.
Yes.
So for me, it was just about my mum, her business, her life is all about e-learning. And it was always like teaching these people like they have no idea what they're doing and breaking it down from an early age. So I've always had that ability to tell a story and to make it palatable so people understand it and actually hopefully feel inspired by it. So I totally just think it's, Ally will say it's all the branding and it's all of the no, joking. But honestly, my since doing the videos, it's more about just me talking, isn't it? But to get us going, it was more about sharing the content. But Ally was really good at understanding who in the field would align with this. And I don't know, things just happened. Honestly, things just happened, and the right people shared at the right times where things just snowballed. And honestly, it was, the first year was just crazy, wasn't it, of expansion. And obviously it's just continually to expand, probably more so than the first year. But because you go from 0 to 80,000, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is just unbelievable. And it opens up a door of opportunity for us in terms of how we can support people, how we can share valuable content that they can share with their friends and family. And I honestly love it the most when someone comes in and they said, honestly, you've been in these groups mentioning that, and one person shared this and this person shared that. And I'm like, wow, because we're all in this circle, we're all in this space, and we're all looking for answers. And I'm just providing answers within my small field. And it's ultimately about how we can give patients, clients the information to feel into their intuition, like you two are saying, to see if that resonates with them or not, and whether that's a path they want to take without even going to see a dentist, right?
You know, when you were saying that, really reminds me of the book The Alchemist. Have you read it?
Oh,
yeah. I don't know if you've read it.
Listen to it? Or...
I don't know. I tend to play audiobooks at night, and it like goes in while she's falling asleep, and I have a time on it. So you may have listened to part of it whilst falling asleep.
It's a nice short book. I totally recommend it. And it's really this idea of this guy, this boy, he goes off on this journey and he goes through this huge adventure and he's looking for this thing. And he ends up at home, and he was looking for a treasure, and that treasure is right at home. It's almost like that with your journey to becoming a dentist. You had the intention initially, but maybe if you had done it straight from A levels, maybe you wouldn't be doing this beautiful, incredible thing that you're doing. And you had to do, it was biochemistry that you did, wasn't it? To understand those principles at a foundational level, to be able to, the way you explain things is beautifully digestible. And possibly the treasure was because you were able to travel that whole adventure to find that treasure was kind of inside of you all along.
And it's the journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have met Ally without that journey either, because we both met on this graduate scheme in London, which we have nothing to do with now. We only did it for a short 2-3 year period of our life. Well, 2 years before we started saying we're going to go out of it. It was crazy. It really was. So yeah, I love it. And I love synchronicities and the book Celestine Prophecy. And that was the one that we read in London, so 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we both read that, and then we listened to it and we were like, yeah, I can start noticing things, you know, when things are going the right way, and that the universe is providing these signs or signals for us to be like, yeah, that's affirmative. I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And since then, it just gets more and more relevant when you're following your path and you listen to, oh gosh, it's crazy. I love it though. And I absolutely, you know, it's like when you think of someone and then something comes up the next day because of that, or that person appears in your life, and it's, or in some way or the other. And I have it so much, even with patients. I think about the patient's name, and I never check my diary too far ahead because I don't want to be thinking about all these case studies. I get in super early and I plan for the whole day and get everything ready, because I don't want that mind. I control my mind because I think so much. But I'll think of a patient, then I'll go in 2 days later and it'll be like, oh, we're doing the treatment that I was thinking about. And it's just crazy. I didn't know when they booked it in. I didn't know. Oh gosh. But I would have already planned a bit in my head because my body's already been like, oh, just think about that treatment. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember we're going to do this, that, and the other. And then I'll just think about it casually and not in a stress mode.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to visualize what I'm going to do in that treatment if it's something complex, or do the surgery in a different way. I love it. It's so cool. Living with purpose.
Yeah. Ally, I'd love to ask you a question a little bit about what Seb has just shared.
Yeah.
So Seb's journey from your perspective of how he got here. So you guys met post uni, in a corporate kind of setting in London. Tell us about kind of you guys as a couple and how that happened, and then how you led each other in, because I think it's a leading each other thing.
Yeah, 100%. So I had just come out of a really unhealthy relationship, like wasn't bringing out my best self, was bringing out like my worst self, and I literally became like a shell of myself. And met Seb on the graduate scheme, and like he just nearly died in Bolivia. Like generally he nearly just died in Bolivia. Met him, and I'd seen a picture of him, and he's like literally, you know, like I think there's like that saying that was going around, like my type on paper or whatever it is. I don't watch TV, but I saw all like the memes and stuff. So I was literally like my type on paper. And then I met him in real life, and I didn't really click. I was like mourning this 2.5 year relationship that had just like ended 2 weeks before. Met, didn't really feel anything. Then we met again. Then we messaged on Office Communicator.
Yeah.
Office Communicator. Got talking. I was like, no. 2 weeks later, he tried again. And I was like, do you know what? I'll just chat to him. I was driving 2.5 hours to work. He rang me on the way home. We spoke for 2.5 hours solid for like the first proper time we'd ever spoken. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is different. Anyway, fast forward, we ended up together, and it was an absolute whirlwind. Like we were both quite wild. I was wild, Seb was wild, and together we were wild. And then the universe was like, whoa. Like you two cannot go on this wild path. Seb, you're going to get iller and iller from Bolivia. His immune system was down. He was trying 9 courses of antibiotics in 6 months. I'd grown up with a mum who every time he was ill, homeopath, natural remedies, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hi, there's a natural way. And he was so resistant. Anyway, eventually he tried it, long story short. And we just had this, we had lots of tests. I went through lots of traumatic stuff, kind of, would you say? First 6 months were wild, weren't they? I went for a rebirthing session.
Oh, yeah.
My house literally set on fire after the rebirthing session. It was very intense, but the universe was sending me really clear signs that this is okay, this is a good thing. And then we ended up moving in together. So less than a year after meeting each other, we moved in together. And then
6 months, wasn't it?
And then everything calmed down. As soon as we got this house together, the universe was just like, okay, things are going to be calm now.
Yeah, I've got you together now.
Yeah.
Now my job is done. Yeah.
Literally, I had a house fire. I mean, I won't go into the details, but literally, it was like a TV drama. And I was like, I'm not available for drama anymore. Like this pattern I've done for the past however many years, I draw a line. Like,
You
didn't
didn't
even,
tell your
even
friends.
told, like, some of my friends, this might be the first time they hear that I've had a house fire, because I didn't tell anyone. It was like, I'm dealing with this as an adult. Let's get through this.
Yeah.
It's not general stuff. But anyway, the reason I share it is because if someone is going through that process where literally like I'd lived there 2 weeks, so I had no insurance. I had to borrow £5,000 from my parents to pay.
Yeah.
And then I had to it then made me get my finances in order and like prioritize stuff, put money aside and all the things.
Yeah.
So then we met. Seb then was like on his health path, going for the more natural route, ended up meeting a doctor, a top immunologist who was into all the holistic stuff. So Seb's worlds were suddenly colliding, his background of biochemistry, his parents who were very medical background, and kind of me, who was like the hippy dippy, however he wanted to call it, like holistic person. London's top immunologist was like, oh yeah, it's to do with candida. You need to be on these herbs. Yeah. Oh, and are you happy in your career? He was like, no.
Yeah.
And so we put him back in touch with King's College London for dentistry to go do like a little day and look around. And then Seb came home and was like, I know you're with me. And we're like, we've just lived together for about a year, but I really want to go back to uni.
Yeah.
And then went back to uni. I retrained in cranio-sacral therapy because I was on my own health journey.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing for you.
Yeah, massive.
Because you didn't want me to do to start with, but I didn't even, I said, okay.
Yeah, and then I sat with it.
Yeah.
He didn't push, and I was like, because having been in the past relationship that I was in, where I've always been such a confident person, I lost who I was. I then really felt like I was going to lose who I was again by my partner going back to uni. Like, I know what my uni days were like. They were wild. So that's kind of how I saw it. And I was like, wait, we're adults. Wait, you're earning good money now. I'm earning good money. We're on a grad scheme and we have to stop this. And I have to be the breadwinner. Like, I'm the feminine flow. And like, I love being like looked after, and I worked, we were earning the same. So, but that mentality. And then I sat with it. And I was only, 23, 24. And I sat with it and I was like, I truly love this person. And if this is going to make me emotional. And if the person who I truly love is really meant to do this, if I lose them in it, it's like, I just trust that because I love him that much, but I can see deep down how important this is to him. And he's prepared to not do it for me. And I don't want to be that person who stops him. And then I found out, I had his emails. We had a shared email account for dentistry because we didn't want it going to his work account for, like a little account.
What account were you
and I got onto our emails, and I got his congratulations thing that he'd got in. He only applied to one uni.
Yes, one
uni.
uni.
He put it down to fate. He was like, if I'm meant to do it, I'm going to get into this uni. It's practical. It's 1 year of study and 3 years practical. It's the right alignment. We've never shared this story before, have we? And I managed to get into the emails. I like put into archive so he couldn't see it. And you came home, or I came home, and bearing in mind we like worked on Baker Street, lived in like Harrow on the hill. So I came across the whole tubes with all these balloons that I got, and I walked into the flat and I was like, congratulations. And he was like, what for? It's gonna make me cry. I was like, you've got in. And that's how we found out, because I wanted to be together, because I knew it was going to be a thing that even though Seb was going back to university, it was a life-changing thing for both of us. So I wanted to be there when he found out, because he didn't necessarily have the support from everyone around him. Like, yes, I had that initial thought for like a week, but other people around him had that thought quite like, well, of course, he was super grad. He got all the bonuses. Like, he was on track to be like sales director for one of the top IT companies in the UK. Like, that's how well he was doing. And then it's just gone from there, like really fast. Like, the universe has just worked so fast. It was tough at uni
though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was tough at uni.
It was tough.
Working all the time. But that's when I treated the uni like a job. And it was really like a job, because I was working at NHS practices. But
not getting paid.
Just
on my salary.
Yeah. But then we started Wander Wellness. In fact, Ally bought Wander Wellness URL in 2015, which was the year before I went back to dentistry. So
Yeah, I just knew we were going to have a wellness center, and it made no sense at that point because we were both, I was in marketing, he was in sales for an IT company, not even thinking of going back to dentistry.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to buy this website. He's like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
So that was it. It was unbelievable.
Crazy. There's a fast thing.
I love that. I love that. And just for anyone listening, like there is a permission slip right there. Like listen to that voice, trust it, go with it, follow it, because you just everything it's almost like these really complicated puzzles where each individual piece looks like just a load of colors and lines and it doesn't make sense, but you know it fits somewhere. So hold on to them, be like, well, that doesn't make sense, I'm going to throw that one in the bin. Well, the puzzle won't get put together if you do that. So I love how you kind of really needed each other and your worlds really, you completed the pieces one by one. You know, I'll put this piece down, you put that piece down, because it's very easy for people to look, you know, at social media and go, oh, it's Seb's world, but no, like it's Ally and Seb's creation. You've birthed this together, and you know it is a child. It's got its own consciousness, its own energy, its own transmission. That was one of the things that I noticed when I walked into the clinic. Like, I feel the transmission here. There is an intention behind this. It's not like just a building with people walking in and out. It's like everything is intentional, and that's going to grow and evolve and expand, and maybe you'll change things. Maybe you have something there, or you're doing things in a particular way that you might not want to do later on as you learn and grow. But the point is, as you do it, you're doing it with purpose and with a reason. And I love that story so much. That's so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that. Honestly, it's amazing. So you recently purchased the actual clinic. That part was separate to the conception of Wonder of Wellness as this idea. So how did that happen? Because that would have been I'm sure an interesting story too.
Yeah. So Wonder of Wellness, we started doing oils. We literally did doTERRA as a business. It started off doing recipes, sharing our tips and tricks. Then it went into doing oils. I worked full time, did cranial 1 weekend a month, would take the Monday off as annual leave. Seb was doing full-time uni, working for his mum for some extra money. And then on evenings and weekends, we'd be teaching oil classes all around the country. For 4 years.
Wow. That is...
Here's my cranial course, but 4 years that.
Yeah.
And we built that to a point where I was able to leave my full-time like marketing manager job for a top company, where I was like, had a company car and driving around everywhere. So that's how Wonder of Wellness kind of evolved. Then
that's where we got the following originally.
Yeah, that's what it started.
Not my page, on
Wonder of Wellness. So then Seb got the clinic to work at and to kind of...
Well, that is an interesting point as well. So I was at university and I knew dentistry. I did not want to do NHS. I just didn't align with it. I couldn't do the amalgams. Even in my what do you call it? You know, that your targets, quota and targets at uni, right, to do it. And I literally placed 3 amalgam fillings because that's what you had to do to pass the course. And I eventually stopped calling my tutors over to help me with clinical work because they would tell me to do amalgam fillings whenever it was below the gum line. And I'm like, I'm just not doing it. It just doesn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah.
And so I knew that wasn't for me. And my other colleagues at the time were like, well, you need to help people. You need to do this and you need to do that. My dream is to help people that can't afford dentistry eventually, but I can't go into doing this dentistry that I fundamentally don't agree with. And I knew that. So during the dental studies process, I was shadowing at the dentist that was doing Ally's expansion orthodontics. And in that waiting room one night, I had reached out to this dentist in Huddersfield, John Roberts, who was the leading dentist in the UK for biological dentistry, really, one of 4. And he had never emailed me back. And he did originally email me back when I first got the job in 2015, first got accepted onto the course. And then I just didn't see him, and I emailed him a few times, he didn't respond to me. And then I saw him in the waiting room of the place where Ally was getting her expansion.
Of course you did.
And I was just like, no
In like
way.
Sheffield,
In
it was
Sheffield.
ridiculous. We were working in Preston. I was driving to Sheffield every few weeks for my braces and all the things. And there he was in the waiting room, and I knew who he was, or you knew who he was. And you know when you walk into the room and there's that like energy, like, and you're like, whoa, like, and you're like, this is a big moment, and it feels a bit weird, and you don't realize it till afterwards. So Seb just introduced himself, and because he was in the room, it then turned into something.
Where I started shadowing with him as well when I was on my reading weeks or whatever. And
Christmas,
everything, as much as I could, learning all the ways. I'm going back to my patients and scraping out the socket and being told not to do that, and you know, all of these things after extractions. So that process was like, wow, okay. Then I was like, well, how am I going to not go into dentistry? You have to do a foundation year, surely. You have to do one. You have to do one. Everyone tells you have to do one. Well, luckily, John had sold his practice to Portman, and John wanted me to work there, but Portman didn't want me to work there because they're a corporate company and they didn't want me in the thing. But John fought for my corner and got me into this clinic and said, I have to work with Seb. And that was, so I went straight from uni into private dentistry, private holistic dentistry. And obviously I took it very slow to start with for the first 6 months.
COVID happened.
Oh yeah, here's another crazy thing.
So COVID happened. So then Seb was building, he uses curator, he was building the systems, and then getting one patient for like 2-hour appointment.
So my learning curve was super, super slow, and I had all the time in the world because of all of the restrictions they're putting on things.
Yeah.
So it's like I could just, it's crazy even talking about it, but I love it, and it's just trusting the process, right?
And then should I go back to the clinic?
Yeah.
So then our plan was Wellness. It's always been at the back of the head as a clinic. Seb's Instagram grew and grew. And it's literally got to the point where we're disappointing people just by not being able to provide an appointment. Yeah. Like Seb, we started to collect a waiting list because so many people come to our website, they were emailing, started to collect a waiting list. And then a year ago in January, we went on holiday. And I'll share this because it was edgy, and I'm not sharing it to be like, oh, blah, 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 we get to do this, but it was really edgy for us and it might help someone. Yeah. So we went on holiday to Mauritius, and there was a hotel that I really wanted to go to. And it felt like an energetic, like, this is too much. Financially, it was a lot, and energetically. And I was like, right, I'm going to balance this out. I'm going to do a hotel which feels really safe. I feel really comfortable. It's at our price point, and we're going to do a stretch. We get to the stretch hotel. Seb gets food poisoning that night, throwing up, sweating, going through can I share what you said when you got there? It was very posh and very wealthy, and we're not like that. Like, we don't have anything designer, like that's each to their own and everything. Seb got there and he was like, I don't feel wealthy enough to be here, and then threw up all night. So this environment of like super wealth, like we'd done 4 nights, we were like, that was more than our budget, and we were like, we were working on the online courses, we were coming up with ideas, we were having like business time because it rained on the last day, so we're doing this. But whilst we were there on the beach, because we were like, right, 9 days done and then we'll work the last day, we were on the beach and someone reached out, one of Seb's patients, and said, hi, blah, 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 blah. Lovely guy, I'm an investor and I don't know what you two are doing, but I want to invest in you. And we were like, with like multi-millionaires over there, and someone had hired a room for 4 months and was having the grass cut to a certain height. Like, it was just the pinnacle of like, it wasn't our type of place. Like, we went and we were like, it was amazing.
Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, it was unreal. It was unbelievable. And so then this investor reached out. So then we get home, like our plan was, maybe a clinic in like 5 to 10 years. And suddenly we're in conversations with an investor. He's bringing his finance man. They're asking me to pull together a business plan and a cash flow for a business which was a 5-year, 10-year plan. Anyway, fast forward, we then found a building. It was 5,000 square feet. I was meeting with solicitors. I was meeting with interior designers. I was meeting with all the people, getting it all priced up. Worked really hard on that for 5 months. And then one Sunday in August, we sat on the sofa and we went, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I was like, I've spent 5 months on this. This is not right. The next day,
it's just too much financial commitment.
It was just, we were having to sign our house over basically for the rent alone. So it basically meant if the business didn't succeed, everything we've ever worked for would just be gone. Didn't feel right, felt out of balance. The next day, Seb gets a phone call from Portman. Hi, we want to speak to you and your wife. Can we speak to you tonight? This was the Sunday night. I was like, I won't sign the contract tomorrow. I was about to sign to pay £25,000 for a solicitor to pull together this pack for us to progress further down this thing. Corporate rental is mental. I was like, I won't sign that document. I let I'll stall the investor. Let's just see. We get a phone call on Monday night. We want to speak. They gave us the price. Our jaws dropped. We looked at each other, and within the following 24 hours, we'd taken £10,000 out of our house fund to put down as a deposit for the practice. So in 48 hours of being like, oh, this doesn't feel right, the universe was like, no, and here's the option.
Okay, that was just incredible. I'm like, I am loving this. This is tales of transformation. It's like the story is just like showing you how you can transform. I just want to pick the story apart a little bit. Like that feeling of you going, you had this vision of staying in this wonderful bougie place in Mauritius, was it?
Yeah.
And you made the decision to do that. You put that investment forward, right? You paid that money. You said, I will do this. And then you went there and there was this resistance or this rejection of it. There's this poverty consciousness that you carried with you into that experience, right?
Probably more so for Seb than me, if we're honest. But it felt stretchy to me.
Yeah.
It felt really stretchy. And then Seb got food poisoning.
Yeah.
The first night.
Eating a delicate, what do you call it? Like those, it's sea urchin.
A delicacy.
Yeah, I had a local delicacy, and it just.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a reason for it, but there's always an energetic reason for it that you then picked that thing, which then led you to that.
Yeah, 100%. It's just wild. It's like, it's almost like you were operating with two parts of yourself. We're going to do this, and we don't feel worthy of this. And it's almost the part that said, we're going to do this. We're accessing this level of wealth, brought that investor to you. And I'm just playing here. Like this is me, but it's like, okay, you're playing in wealth, right? Let's bring you some more money. And yet it wasn't the right person and the right alignment, because that poverty consciousness was still mixed in with it. And I could be completely wrong, but that just from this perspective, it's like you can kind of look at it from another viewpoint and see that may have been what was playing out. And then your intuition steps in and it's like, well, what is in alignment? Or, that kind of question.
I'll tell you another thing, and I won't go into details because it's there's personal aspects to it, but we had another investor lined up as well. Very, 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 very successful. And we were about to sign. We'd obviously put the £10,000 deposit down. He was the investor that we'd chosen to go with, and we were about to pay the full amount which the investor had lined up, and I got the biggest sty. And my eye was, oh my god, I got a sty in Mauritius as well. Anyway, never had a sty appears in Mauritius. Having to walk around these bougie places with no eye makeup on, which is like, I don't wear anything, but I occasionally wear eye makeup. And then I'm about to sign with the investor, and then I've got this sty, and it was agony. And my mum went, what are you not wanting to look at? And it was like, so I then had to, because Seb's working flat out. I was like, we've got to pay this money to Portman in 48 hours.
We don't have the money anymore.
Where am I getting this money from? Because I can't use this investor. My body is clearly saying you cannot use this investor. So I had to put my big girl pants on and I won't go into details, but do things which was, it was challenging for me in order to get this. I don't want it to sound bad or anything, but I had to, like, it's not like that at all, but I had to.
You have to speak to people you don't want to normally speak to.
I didn't want to speak to those people to ask them for help and support, and I had to do that in order to make this thing a reality, basically. So just how the body can give you signs, and it's, for me, it's always been really clear. I was actually talking about this today. That's really weird. My body is really, but other people will have that, and it'll just be really quiet, and it generally gets louder and louder and louder because I didn't want to get rid of this investor. It was a really good deal. He had so much experience. He was the only one helping me through this. like day to day, because Seb was on clinic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
body said no.
Body said no. Yeah. The body never lies.
No.
You
So
know.
yeah, again, another 48 hours, managed to pull together the money for the investment.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What an amazing story. I love that. And so it's like this clinic, the energy that has gone into this clinic, the journey, the challenges, everything is woven in. And that's probably why people can feel it. And I'm sure people probably give you that reflection, like they feel good coming in, or they feel something, even if it's,
I feel it triggers some people as well.
Yeah.
And that's been really hard to come to terms with, because we've both worked flat out. Like Seb works flat out. I'll be honest, we're not like, we made a lot more money when Seb was just working there. Like now I'm involved. I had a totally different life, much more relaxed. Like right now, financially, we're in a much worse position personally. Like, don't get me wrong, we're still very grateful for what we do have.
Yeah.
We're making so much less and working a million more hours.
Yeah.
And that's kind of shocked me. And obviously, I know I was talking about it yesterday with Seb. I was like, where's the thing in the energy? There's something in the energy somewhere, but it's not flowing. But I feel like it's the energy. This might be quite esoteric, but I feel comfortable sharing it with you. It has its own energy, and it's quite a strong energy, and it knows exactly what it's here to do, Wonder of Wellness. And I do feel that triggers some people. Yeah. For whatever reason. And that can be quite upsetting when we're working so hard and doing our best, but we just, I particularly have to just learn to like take a step back and realize that it's not going to be for everyone. And no matter how hard we try, it's a really young business. Like, it's had a physical home for 6 months. Yes, it's had an online presence. It's had a physical home for 6 months. Like, it's powerful, but it's quite new. And we've changed so much, because for me, the environment is just as important as the experience itself, because the environment is the space that holds, it's the container, it's like that, it's like the womb for the transformation. Yeah. And yeah, that's been a little bit of a shock. And I'm sharing that because I don't want it to look like we've had this amazing experience and we've gone to Dingy and these investors approached us. Like, it's been really hard. And like this morning, we were up at 5 a.m. in the morning. We looked at each other and we're like, oh, this has been intense. Like, but we're just trusting that the universe is really clearly showing us really fast. These people are meant to be there. These people are not. It's fast. It's really fast. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think things can always look all airy-fairy and lovely on the outside, and these things are hard, and making bold decisions it's so hard to do. And running a practice, just a normal, conventional, centralized dentistry is difficult. So many people give up. And then to do it in a decentralized way and saying, actually, we're not doing what all the other dentists are doing, or what the majority of dentists are doing. And that brings in potentially criticism from the industry. And I don't know if you faced that, actually, Seb, because you did say you focus mainly on patients and you stay out of the kind of other dentists in that world. And that's totally fine. You know, that's fine.
I'd probably say, from my perspective, the hardest thing is, it's really hard because my belief is, and my understanding from both my own experiences and what I've kind of witnessed, is people are really sick in the world, and it's really sad. We live in a really toxic world, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And then they find out about this type of dentistry, and it holds so much potential for changing their life. And they put so much emphasis on one particular aspect. And they might put Seb on a pedestal, or this treatment on a pedestal, or whatever. And yes, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, this is going to change people's life and it's going to be amazing. But there's that 1% it doesn't. And because they've put this on such a pedestal, it brings up a lot of anger, because this hasn't been their savior. And it's I'm very aware of energy, and I feel like it's a global thing. I feel there's so much anger coming up in people, and it needs to come up, it needs to come out. It can't be in our shadow. I'm totally aware of that. But it's just this really interesting dynamic of like this love and like, wow, you're amazing. And then it can very quickly turn, or it can be very like the other polarity of like, oh my God, I hate you. I actually hate you. And it's this polarity. And sometimes it impacts me, but I look at Seb and I just think, I just have so much compassion for him, because we've both worked hard, but he is like busted through thing after thing after thing after thing, and he just truly wants to help people. And then when he can't help someone, the lashback or the whatever it is, I'm just like, ouch. And Sid might not feel it. He has his own way of dealing with it and everything, but I'm just like, and I'm sad for the person as well, because they're so desperate to be healed, and rightly so. And then it doesn't provide the answers. And then it's like, oh, it's just really sad. It's just life, isn't it? It's like this big dynamic dance. And, you know, they might then, the next thing might be, and it might be that this is, like you say, a piece of a jigsaw. I absolutely love that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't the final piece of a jigsaw for them, but it's the second to last. And it's now going to enable their body to heal. But then they have to go through that process. So yeah, I just feel like there's just so much more consciousness and awareness that is around these things. And I'm just going to the dentist, or I'm just going to a biological dentist, or there's always an and.
Yeah.
But in terms of professional stuff, touch wood, so far, there's been a few things, isn't there?
Minor
things, but it doesn't faze me, because I made a vow to myself when I went into this dentistry. I said, I'm not going to let patients, like Ali was just saying, you know, like, all I care about is doing my absolute best, 100%, with the knowledge that I have now, and the diagnostic tools I have now in the UK, as much as I can for my patients. And that's what I would do for me, my family. And if that doesn't work out and they're not happy about that, that's not on me. And I've tried my best, and I'll learn from them. But I can't fix everyone, but I fix a lot of people, and I don't fix them. That's a bad way of saying it. I support them on their journey. But yeah, so that, and the dental thing, if the dentists don't believe in what I'm doing, that's fine. They can have their own opinions, do their own things. Fine.
I want to say something about that, actually, because I really feel, Ali, like that you do love Seb a lot, obviously, but it is almost like this shared heart that you've created through being together, this consciousness. I always say everything, there's an emergent consciousness, right? That is created through a shared intention for anything. So whether that's love and creating a relationship and a family together, whether that's being your business partners too, right? You share a vision of something you want to create, and that thing has its own energy and its own consciousness and its own ability to bring out the shadow in people.
100%.
And I think this is also an opportunity to see the beauty in your union, and how it really hurts you when someone's mean to your Seb. It's always like, don't be mean to him, even if he's just centered and he's okay and he's got his own path with that. That's like the mama jaguar kind of feeling, like, no, you will not hurt my Sebby. I'm just making up nicknames now.
Business as well. So today's been the first time I've cried because of that today. So it's quite raw in me. So you can probably sense that. Because I'm like, I know how much he cares. But in terms of the business and the business energy, oh my gosh, it's like having a child. It's a business baby, and it's got a really weird energy as Wonder of Wellness, because it's a new business, and it's got wisdom and age because it's been going for longer, and there's an intention as well that's come through. I mean, why else was I sat there in London working at a corporate for an IT company and the name Wonder of Wellness popped into my head? Like there's an intelligence there. And I don't think as well, I anticipated how much people's, not opinions, but how much like the energy interaction with Wonder of Wellness would impact me as well. And that's, again, teaching me about boundaries, teaching me about holding my own space, not being over functioning on behalf of the business, and like not getting into like, we have like a coach, and you know, we talk about personal stuff, and it's so interesting how the personal patterns come up also come up. The relationship with yourself, your relationship with your partner, and then your relationship with your business as well. But yeah, I deeply care. There's like this reverence for Wonder of Wellness, and
that's a good word. And
this trust. But it's not always easy. It's not at the minute. It's 6 months. We've had it 6 months. And the last year has been an absolute whirlwind. It's like
18 months.
Laboring and then giving birth, and then it's been fast, and then it's been changing cultures and 2P and staff over, and the culture that brings, because our vibration for what Wonder of Wellness is very different to what it was before, especially because it went through a period where it was one person's, and then it got bought by a corporate, and there was like this mismatch of like, corporate chairs have to be putting all the practices, so all the chairs, and it sounds silly, but it was like an orange and dental practice. And then it was like black leather chairs, because that's what all of this company's chairs had to be. So then we've bought this mismatch, and there's this being this deep like process to be like, right, let's just start. Let's see what we can change. And that's why the environment was really important for me to change. So it then holds its own energy of this is Wonder of Wellness, rather than, oh, what's going on here? Because that's disorientating. And then when you're in a dental practice, it brings up a lot anyway. So it's like, we want people to feel grounded and like clear when they're in there.
Yes, I'm just saying because truly, here you go. With regards to people, you know, feeling disappointed, feeling like they didn't get the healing that they wanted, etc. I think this is a really good reminder that when you're creating something that is designed for healing, it's more like healing, right? It's like, how does this particular problem fit into the context of who this person is and what else is going on here? And I find this a lot in the spiritual world. As you know, I do a lot of spiritual work. I have clients, I work with people, you know, couples, etc. doing this. I always say to people, do not put me on a pedestal. Do not put any teacher on a pedestal. Be inspired, learn from them, but one day they will do something that is out of alignment with your core value system, right? And you will suddenly knock that stool from underneath them, but they never asked you to put them there.
Yeah, that is such good. Yeah, I love that.
I did a very long, one of the certifications that I did was a 2-year thing, and everyone, you know, wow, you know, put her on a pedestal, and she got a nose job, and everyone was very disappointed. Now, I personally wouldn't get a nose job. That's not something I would do. If she wants to get one, I don't think she needed one, but she decided to get one. I never put her on a pedestal, so I don't care. This then comes back to healing, right? We have all got divine intelligence flowing through us, flowing through our blood. Our heart knows when to beat, each of our cells doing all of those reactions that they need to do, our mitochondria doing what they need to do, using the electrons, using the photons, creating the cellular water, and all of this stuff that is happening at a deep quantum level in our body knows what to do. The same things that are happening in my body are happening in yours in the way it needs to happen in yours, and etc. And people need to come to these spaces because they're subscribing to a different system when they come to somewhere like Wonder of Wellness, right? Come to those systems with the understanding that you are your own healer, and this person is facilitating that process. They're co-creating it with you, right? And they're putting in that grain of sand, and maybe they'll put in like a whole scoop of sand, and maybe someone else will need to put in another scoop, or somebody else will just be one grain. But that's what's forming the beach, right? Healing isn't an overnight thing. You shifting that needle very, very slowly sometimes, and sometimes something moves the needle very suddenly, and that's like, that doesn't discount all the other things that we did before. That's my little speech to the patients, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And if you, I mean, I'm sure you're aware, but maybe for the listeners, like the drama triangle, because I just find that such a good tool. So so you've got a drama triangle and most of the world lives on it, and you've got rescuer, victim, and persecutor. And humans in general like to live on this triangle. So you will generally have one position which you play, and then you generally will skip between one and the other. So I'm just going to use the example of Seb might be the rescuer. So he's going to be, people are going to see him, he's my rescuer, he's my rescuer. They're the victim, he's my rescuer. When Seb doesn't do it, he's suddenly the persecutor. Or reception might be the persecutor because they can't get in. They can't get in with Seb for 6 months. Reception are the persecutors. And we so easily jump on this triangle. It's so easy. Well, it's not easy. Yeah. It's a conscious choice to get off the triangle. Yeah. So when you're in a dynamic or a situation and you're like, that person, where are you putting yourself on that triangle? Because you're probably putting yourself in the victim, and nothing is happening when you're in the victim because you're relying on someone external, and you're also projecting your power onto the persecutor, that it's their fault, instead of being like, okay, where does that live within me? So I just find it such a helpful tool to be like, okay, am I on the triangle? What am I feeling? Am I on the triangle? How can I get myself off? And you can literally imagine a triangle on the floor, and you can physically step off it. You can, whatever works for you, get off the triangle. There's nothing empowering going on the triangle. But I just find that a really simple tool to kind of picture that in the healing journey. And yes, there will be people along the way, like you say, that add that grain of sand, which might be the final thing for the needle, and they're facilitators, but they're not on a pedestal. And they're not doing it for you. Like, there's a reason you've been thinking about things, and then you've suddenly seen something, and then you've suddenly seen something, like your higher intelligence is leading you to something. So yeah, I find
beautiful.
that helpful.
That's really good. That's really good. Maybe you should have a little like leaflet about the triangle. So anytime someone can't get an appointment, take this. Where are you on the triangle? How do we get you off the triangle into this safety zone over here?
We want to help people as much as possible. It's the capacity, and people have their own levels of like burnout and things like that. Can't help anyone if you're on the floor from burnout.
No. Yeah. And just remembering, just really reinforcing this for the audience, you are your own healer. Seb and Ally and all of these wonderful dentists, doctors, even in the centralized system, we're not criticizing that system. That's the level that
for a reason. They think and we always say the thing, sorry if I've interrupted.
That's okay.
We always say you don't know what you don't know. So they could hand on heart think they're doing the best thing.
Absolutely.
And that then helps you to get off the triangle, because it's not pointing fingers.
Yeah.
And when you're pointing at someone, there's 4 fingers pointing back at you as well. So
exactly.
Little analogies to help you, like.
Bring your attention back to yourself. Bring that light back in, right? As soon as we start going, what, that person's amazing, we're actually pulling all of the light out of ourselves onto that person. And then we only find ourselves in darkness. And then anything that emerges from there is going to be self, victimizing, etc. And then it really is important. That is a part of the healing journey. Before you choose your person who's going to facilitate your journey, remember that you are stepping in there as the healer of yourself, and this person is handing you some tools. That's all it is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe we put this on our website so everyone can see it and understand where we're coming from.
Yeah. And it is that reminder that you are a limited number of people. Even if you recruited a whole bunch of dentists, there are a certain number of rooms in the surgery, and where are you supposed to put these dentists? You might have 100 people lining up saying, we want to help, we want to learn this stuff, we've got all these other modalities that we'd love to bring. But if you don't have the rooms or the capacity, like physical space, you can't do it. And it's really hard. It is really hard. And I can imagine your vision is probably growing at pace that practically, matter doesn't move as fast as particle doesn't move as fast as wave, right? So those ideas and those inspirations and the downloads, they don't kind of come, and you're like, I can't actually.
We've got the clinic, and already we can't keep up with the demand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's booked up till October, end of October.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's beautiful. And it's a reason to be grateful. And
it's like, I thought this was going to help. But anyway,
yeah.
we move and we see what comes, and things are working and exciting things are happening. So
yeah. And it roots back to what Seb was saying earlier, that the consumer, the patients, are driving change in the industry. Us as dentists wouldn't change. We wouldn't know what to change if people weren't coming and saying, actually, I don't like using fluoride, so I'm using, I don't know, some random little concoction they put together. And you're like, well, we get it. We understand why you're not doing that. So what can we find that is now going to help you remineralize your teeth? And then someone's like, oh, we can use hydroxyapatite. It's like, now there's an effective alternative. Isn't that wonderful?
As well, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's booming, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, it is booming. Yeah, it is. What is your vision for the clinic and this Wonder of Wellness brand, and your personal kind of like your story, you, Ally and Seb, and how do those things tie together?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, okay. So personally, well, clinically probably first because it makes sense. So clinically want to get the ship directed in the right way, get it humming, get it singing, get it flowing, and then once that is working and we can effectively manage with all of the tools, all the diagnostics, all the equipment we need to fully support patients with the knowledge right now that will change tomorrow probably, but once that is in that place, or as close as it can do and as up to date as it can be, then it's more about education to professionals and creating postgraduate diplomas to help them understand a different way when patients are coming to them with these questions. And then maybe cookie cutting Wonder of Wellness. And I don't think we want to create lots of Wonder of Wellnesses, but we almost want to train dentists to then run the brand Wonder of Wellness like a franchise, so that they can then have know what to do here, the profile, and I'll help them set that up, manage that. And I never want to stop clinical work because I love it. And my vision clinically is orthodontic orthopedics all the time, expansion, airway dentistry, and then big surgery cavitation cases and ceramic implants, and helping patients heal on the thing that's very specialized that not many, even biological dentists do, because you have to be a jack of all trades in this field, because there's not enough dentists professionally doing it. So that's what patients will need to understand as well, that there's 4 or 5 full-time biological dentists in the UK, probably. If that. And lots of them have their own little area, but they don't do all the areas. And patients will go to them and see, oh, well, I'll heal if I do this one bit. Whereas I'm saying, no, we need to know a bit of everything and give our patients all the information, even if you can't do it, and referring within the network of people and professionals. Yeah. So they have options, they have choices. And then, did I say personally? I suppose that was kind of like clinically as well, wasn't it?
Me to do that?
Yeah, you can go if you want. Well, is your person the same as my person?
Yeah, probably. I hope so. That would be, what? You want to do that? I can't believe you shared the big vision.
Yeah.
I'm a sort of person that I'm like, I don't tell people until it happens.
Me too. Yeah.
So I'm a bit like, oh, Seb shared it out loud in the world.
That's okay.
Woo!
Nice golden bubble of energy protecting the vision. Yeah.
Thank you. Personal vision. We're on a farm. Oh yeah. Whilst all this was happening, we were living in a caravan.
Yes, I saw that. So wild.
You see those people on Grand Designs, and you're like at the beginning and then at the end, and then And I'm not putting that out into the universe. I look younger and younger and healthier and healthier. But yeah, we're living on a farm. We're in our house now, so I project manage the house whilst running the online business and doing all the clinic stuff. I want to enjoy it. I want the clinic to flow, like Seb said. I want the right people in the right places.
Yeah.
We get 200 calls a day, 250 calls a day. So people think we're ignoring them. We're not. We've got an extra receptionist. We can't physically, you could be on the phone and 5 voicemails can come through. Yeah. I've sat on reception. I've done it. So I would like that to flow because I would like to spend more time with my husband on a personal level. And we've bought a farm and we watched Biggest Little Farm, which we just loved. And we want to do regeneration. We want to be as much self-sufficient as possible. I love growing flowers. I love growing food. And I'd really like to just see what happens here.
And watch our children.
Yeah.
When we have children.
Yeah. And then I'm sure that'll bring its own adventure with homeschooling or whatever that might look like.
Yeah.
But I would just like some space. In that out into the universe. Some nice space to just take stock because it has happened so fast.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like not energetic whiplash, but kind of like it's just happened so fast. And we're like, whoa. And people are like, wait, we want more of you. We want this, we want that. And it's like, right, let's just rebalance, see where we're at. We're really passionate about the earth, really passionate about the soil, the microbiome in the soil, which links into the microbiome in the mouth, and really honoring the land. And I mean, yeah, I could go on for ages about that, but
well, turning the old farming land into rich regenerative soil. And things want to grow and thrive, and the ecosystem that we create looks after
itself. We want a food forest. I mean, that's a 10-year plan for a food forest.
Not for you guys, it could be a year. Have it like that for you guys.
Trees just grow.
I got those copper pipe twisty things. I don't know if you've seen them. Electroculture.
Yeah.
My herb bed looks like it's from something from, I don't know, like a Giants thing. Like I've got lemon balm. I'm not even joking. It's like that high. It's wild. Everything's wild. It's great. So personally, we'd really like time to just take stock. In a nice way, not because we're forced to, but in a nice way, and just enjoy stuff, and then see what happens with the business. But yeah, that's my understanding of personal. You in agreement? Have you got that all together?
Spend time with children as well. My family weren't enough with me when I was younger anyway. So I want to change that and change my working hours to accommodate that. Even as a dad, I don't want to be that always away working and paying for things. I want to get things sorted and understand what's going on, and then just, spend that quality time. And that's why we've held off having kids, really, because I don't feel like I've been able to be a dad that I want to be yet. Because I'm working too much, definitely too much, 6 days a week, most weeks, to be honest with you. But I see what it's for, and I will have faith in people around me to do more of what I do soon as well. So I know that's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like setting that intention, I love the mention of the homeschooling. I'm always saying that when I have kids, I'm not sending them to a school, no conventional schooling, I'm not doing it. And everyone looks at me like I'm crazy, but I'm glad that you're also on the same page.
Go do a course to be a forest school teacher. I'm like, Mum, that would be a great idea. She suggested it. I wouldn't be forcing her in it. I would do that. And I'm like, but yeah, I mean, I'm always dropping that.
Yeah. Just train up everyone to like teach different subjects
and stuff. And there is so many visions for that of Wonder Wellness. Like when it was the big center, we were having a wellness cafe, we're having treatment rooms, we are having like a holistic beauty thing, because I have like non-toxic nail polish on when I go on holiday, and that's it. But there's no places that do it, and I have to take in my own. So I do think Wonder Wellness as a brand will grow. Right now, we're in a position where we're just like, okay, let's just slow down. But if the universe has got other plans, I mean, we've already been approached again by potentially someone with connections for a very, very, very big investment.
Mm.
But we've got to decide what we want, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very grateful that these people are approaching us, and people are just like approaching us and they're like, I don't know what you're doing, but I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Which is like bizarre, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Just picking up on something, Seb, that you said around that there aren't that many people doing this type of work, and not everyone's going to do it in the same way, because we don't really have like a set definition of what biological dentistry is, because people call it biological dentistry, holistic dentistry, functional dentistry. My last episode was with a dentist from Australia who calls himself a quantum dentist. Yeah, he's awesome. And he's putting in, quantum and circadian biology and applying it to dentistry. And I've definitely gone, because I've been looking at circadian and quantum biology for a while, and I was like, of course you can apply this to dentistry. I just was kind of doing it just as a health practice and for generally, but that is wonderful. And maybe we don't all need to do all of it, because it is such a burden. It's a lot. And of course, we deserve to have our families and create our children and spend time with them. And maybe we need to be like this mycelium network, look, of, like, that's the person for this thing, and this is the person. We actually do what maybe hasn't been done in healthcare, of like, we support each other in this system. And maybe you have to go to London, and then you have to go to Yorkshire, and then you have to go to Australia or whatever. But there are people who are excellent at these things, and we talk to each other and we support each other. And I know that that's not my thing, but my thing is this thing. I'll do this part and go to Seb, because he's great at airway stuff and the orthopedic stuff, etc. And maybe that is the way. Maybe that is the heart-led, community-led way that this is going to be possible, where people also understand that they are not this thing beneath the network. They're a part of it. As a patient, they are part of the healing process, and they move along that network, and they see where that network is leading them, and learning from each other, because there's stuff that I might know that somebody else might not know, and that they know that I have no clue about, etc. So just like releasing that burden and creating space for your children, for you to be the best parents that you want to be. And for myself and all the other people out there that are doing this work, like, family is everything. In 100 years, on our last day on this planet, I always say this, that the most important thing is what came from me. And I always envision like my kids, my grandkids, my great grandkids, hopefully. And really, that's all that counts, right?
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And just making that decision from that version of you, of like, what would she have had to have done, or he have had to have done, to get here, to be so satisfied, being like, I'm done with this body. I've done my life. I've left a ripple, I've left a change in the field, and that's enough.
You're making me cry. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So that was beautiful. I mean, I could talk to you guys forever. Maybe we can do a part 2 interview with people like this one. I think we should wrap up there, because it's a sleepy Wednesday night. Everyone's got work tomorrow. So
amazing.
So one thing that I did at the end of the last episode was ask the guest a question to ask my next guest. So the question, Stephen Bartlett does this.
I love that.
CEO, I stole it from him. I borrowed it from him. But his question was, what are the 3 most important values in your life?
Passion, I think, is a big one. Feeling a sense of achievement or educational, something around that, like you're learning, your mind's feeling satisfied. And love.
Beautiful. What about you, Ally?
Integrity.
Yeah.
Being with myself, like I think it's so easy for some people to self-abandon and be like, that person thinks that about me, or what will that person think? Or like the example of, I've spent 5 months working on this massive center and now it's not happening. Like not self-abandoning. I think that's so important. And I think that's literally life-changing. And then relationship with integrity, relationship with self, and relationship with nature and the nature around you, so the people. And I think it's so easy to just get on your phone, get stuck in a scroll hole, which I do at times, I will admit that. But nothing replaces like going outside, getting my hands in the mud, digging, having these open conversations. Like people have this depth of humanness and this personality, and we're like just skimming the fat off the top, and we're just getting that bit, and there's all this like 99% that goes on, and trying to practice more of that, because that's where the medicine is, that's where the nourishment lies.
Beautiful. And what would be the question that you guys would leave for the next person, not knowing who they are?
Shall I ask what I do one, you do one?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mine would be, what do you do every day that makes you happy? It's almost like, okay, what's the thing that makes you smile every day, or something like that? Your personal little, for me, for example, it was going out this morning after doing my exercise, getting ready for to have a shower, going out barefoot and watching the lambs run around the field, and I smiled, right? That was it. So something like that just lights you up and brings you back to this world that we live in.
Yeah.
What is that for you?
Mine would be, I don't know if this is too deep, but it's coming up, so I'll share it. What would you tell younger you, like young you? Would you tell you, or what does younger you need to hear from you?
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you guys so much. Do you have anything final you want to say, like one message to the world? Let's say you guys had a big speakerphone, megaphone thing, and the whole world could hear it. What would be the one thing that you would say to feel like this little interaction between us is complete?
Trust the process.
And I'd just like to thank you for holding such a beautiful space and facilitating the conversation and creating a safe space where we've both felt comfortable enough to share stuff that's actually quite vulnerable. So thank you for holding such a beautiful space. And I'd say to the listeners to just constantly check in with your heart, like hand on your heart. Like if everyone did that, and like remember the humanity that is there, like in all the situations when you're angry, like anger's good at times, like all these things are good, but just be present with yourself in it, and hand on the heart. I found a really helpful tool for that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for the audience, I always forget to say this, so please do subscribe. I always forget to say that. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Thank you so much to Seb and Ally for spending time with us, for sharing so deeply, vulnerably. I just am in adoration of that story, and there's definitely a tale in there, and there's transformation in there. Both of you have transformed immensely, and there are definitely permission slips in there for people to do the same in whatever their path needs from them. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Are you guys in the clinic right now?
No, this is our house.
I wasn't sure.
Our house is on brand as well.
It's like...
This is my office.
Okay, perfect.
It's really grounding and calming.
Yeah.
So I've got a desk here, and then Seb's got a desk there, so we can sit opposite each other and work.
Yeah, and annoy each other, being like, "Do you know the answer to
It
this?"
never happens though.
Yeah, we're never
Never
together
at the same time.
No,
Apart from right now.
Yeah, woohoo! On the same side of the table, though.
Yes. Exactly, exactly.
I've been kicked onto the small area.
Are
There
you
you go.
going to sit closer? I feel like Seb's like.
It's the size of these chairs. We're sat on garden chairs because we have office chairs, yeah, and they're like these big wooden armchairs, and that's as close as we.
I'm just going to switch my light on because I forgot to do that. Oh, that's a bit too bright. Oh God, I've disappeared.
Too bright.
Edit this part out.
Hello.
I think that's too bright, isn't it? I think we'll leave it as it is.
Hello.
Hello.
Amazing.